Your Honor, I'd like to dismiss my attorney and represent myself, he said confidently, a 16-year-old boy in court full of experienced lawyers, and a judge known for crushing teenage defendants. What happens when this kid, accused of a simple crime, stands up and challenges the entire system? In a courtroom where no one expects a thing, Elijah Thomas takes on a powerful, corrupt judge and exposes secrets that could ruin careers and lives. No one thought it was possible, but Elijah had a plan. Watch the shocking courtroom showdown that no one saw coming. Welcome to Stories with Mr. Gray. If you love uncovering the truth and standing up for justice, hit subscribe, like and drop the flag of your country in the comments below. Judge Malcolm "Gavel King" Richardson wasn't just a man in a robe. He was a symbol of fear. For over a decade, he ruled the juvenile court with a heavy hand and a louder voice. He was famous for harsh sentences, especially when it came to teenagers. In his courtroom, a gavel wasn't just a tool. It was a hammer of judgment. More than 1,500 minors had passed through his courtroom, many leaving with shattered futures. Parents warned their children about ending up in front of him. Richardson doesn't give chances, they'd say. He gives records. On a cold Monday morning, 16-year-old Elijah Thomas stood before that very man. He had been accused of stealing a pair of headphones. It was his first offense. Nothing violent, nothing serious. But as soon as Judge Richardson saw him, skinny, nervous, wearing a hoodie and worn-out sneakers, he labeled him another street kid, another statistic. Elijah's public defender, a man named Grover, didn't help. He was late, disorganized, and clearly hadn't read Elijah's case file. The prosecutor, on the other hand, was fully prepared. She laid out photos, witness statements, and a confident summary. Richardson leaned back, half listening. In his mind, the case was already over. Guilty. Sentence. Next. But then something unexpected happened. Elijah stood up, steady but calm. Your Honor, I would like to dismiss my attorney and represent myself, he said. The courtroom went quiet. The clerk stopped typing. Even the bailiff looked confused. Judge Richardson narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? He asked. Florida Rule 3.111, D3, Elijah said. I have the legal right to represent myself in this trial. Most teenagers in Elijah's shoes would have frozen. But Elijah didn't just stand, he moved with purpose. He took out a thick, creased notebook from his hoodie pocket and walked to the defense podium. The judge, stunned but legally bound, gave him permission to proceed. Elijah began with a statement. First, Your Honor, I have reason to believe the arrest report contains false details. He presented a USB drive to the court clerk. It held surveillance footage from the store showing someone else, same build, but a different jacket. The timestamp showed Elijah wasn't even in the frame during the alleged theft. Murmurs rose from the benches. The prosecutor frowned and checked her notes. Second, Elijah said, the officer who detained me failed to read my Miranda rights. I have a transcript from his body camera. He handed it over. Grover, now sitting beside the gallery, looked stunned. The prosecutor whispered frantically to her assistant. Every document Elijah presented was organized and time-stamped. Every claim backed with proof. Judge Richardson leaned forward, visibly uncomfortable. He attempted to cut Elijah off. Young man, are you turning this courtroom into a circus? Elijah stared at him. No, Your Honor. I'm showing you how many of your cases have been a circus. And how many teens never got a real defense? Gasps echoed through the room. Cameras clicked. Reporters typed. What no one knew that day was that Elijah had been preparing for this for over a year. This trial wasn't just about shoplifting. It was personal. His older brother, Dan, had been dragged through the same court by the same judge. Dan had stolen a backpack, no weapon, no violence. Still, Richardson had sentenced him to 3 years. That sentence derailed his life. He never graduated high school, never got back on track. Elijah watched it happen. Since then, Elijah made it his mission to understand the system that broke his family. He spent evenings at the law library. He printed transcripts of Richardson's past cases. He studied how teens, especially poor and black, were treated. Patterns started to emerge. Minor offenses met with maximum punishment. Most teens had underprepared defenders just like Grover. He learned how to file public records requests. He built a spreadsheet tracking over 200 juvenile sentences from Richardson's court. The data spoke volumes. Certain zip codes, certain races, and certain schools were punished harder. And Richardson was the common thread. So when Elijah was arrested, he didn't panic. He planned. He didn't want an easy escape. He wanted to take Richardson down case by case, fact by fact. That courtroom wasn't a trap, it was a stage. Now, he was finally telling the world what he had uncovered. Elijah's trial lasted longer than anyone expected. What began as a simple case became a storm. By day 3, reporters packed the room. Local stations streamed the trial live. Students and activists rallied outside. Elijah presented testimony from a former court clerk who claimed that Richardson pressured staff to rush hearings. Another witness, a retired public defender, admitted she was often coerced into plea deals under threat of professional backlash. Elijah showed paper trails, email records, and audio clips. He wasn't just fighting his case. He was putting the judge on trial. Then, Elijah submitted a formal motion. He wanted Judge Richardson removed. Attached to it was a 40-page document outlining instances of judicial bias, racial discrimination, and unethical conduct. He had citations, he had sources, and he had signatures from civil rights attorneys backing him. A higher court judge reviewed the motion overnight. The next afternoon, Richardson was officially recused from the case. The courtroom exploded with noise. The judge didn't say a word as he stood up and walked out. No speech, no drama, just silence. Few weeks passed. Now it was Judge Richardson on trial. The same courtroom, but a different chair. He faced charges of judicial misconduct, evidence suppression, and civil rights violations. Elijah was present every day. He sat in the front row, wearing a clean shirt, tie, and quiet confidence. One by one, teens wronged by Richardson told their stories. Some cried, some shouted. All of them echoed the same thing. No one had listened before. Richardson's former staff testified. They revealed years of ignored complaints, lost files, and manipulated case records. Elijah took the stand as the prosecution's key witness. He told his story step by step. Every detail lined up. Every document matched. By the end of the trial, there was no doubt. Richardson was convicted. He lost his license, his pension, and the respect he once demanded with every slam of his gavel. Outside the courtroom, cameras swarmed Elijah. One reporter asked, "How did you do it? How did you take down the gavel king?" Elijah answered simply, "I didn't take him down. I just showed the truth and gave people a reason to see it." He walked away from the microphones. His mission wasn't fame. It was change. And he had already made history. If you believe in justice, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next one. Together, we can make sure that stories like this don't go unnoticed. Because in the end, the fight for justice is a fight we can all win. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.